All right, everyone, welcome to the Crawford Family Doghouse. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and pass it along. It's for a good cause. We're trying to bring awareness to animal abandonment and cruelty here in southern Mississippi. The title of this video is going to be Bringing a Big Heart to a Small Town with a Big Problem. And how long this problem been going on here? For a long time, from what I gather from people that I talk to that have been born and raised here. And abandoning animals in the woods out here where we stay is something I believe these people have just come accustomed to. So it's nothing that really bothers them here. It's something they're used to. So they're able to just go about their day like it doesn't matter. Now that's not for all these people that live here, because we have ran across some people that are really beautiful people, and they probably care for their babies more than their children sometimes. But for the most part, it is a lot of them here. And I gather that from talking to some of these people, here that just, I don't know, I guess it's just whatever it may be. I'm not too sure. But from some of the people that I've talked to in the last couple of days have really just, they've really just struck a nerve with me. And it's like, I'm about ready to just wash my hands with people in this town in general, and just, keep my peace and just keep continuing on doing what we're doing. And but it's getting to a point here at home now where, we're up to 18 dogs that we've rescued. Well, we've got 3 of them that we've had. So, and I'm going to introduce Reese. Let me see. Come, let me see. This is Reese. This is my dad. I've had my dad now 7 years. He's the one that started me as a dog dad, and that's how I've kind of gotten into what I gotten into with these guys. And then this is Marsha. Marsha, let me see, baby. Let me see. And then this is Marsha. I've had Marsha 5 years now, and she's my baby. So, and all the other ones that we have are rescued. They are rescued. And then we've got Grace. Grace is a coonhound that we have. And my wife got her, somebody was giving puppies away at one of the stores, and they didn't want to give it to the SPCA or whatever there, because they said that they would have to euthanize it anyway. So we ended up taking her and her sister, and we lost her sister to parvo. And that was our parvo scare here. And that was one thing, that was a very, that was a hard lesson we learned when giving these babies their vaccinations. So that is like the first step that we go through when we bring these babies home. They get vaccinated right off the rip. So, but back to the problem that we have here in our town. Our local shelters are beyond full here. They're like double capacity, and the alternative for people from not taking them there or waiting the waiting period or whatever it may be, they decide to dump them in the woods out here. And in the last 2 months, it just seems like it's just overwhelming, because we've taken in 4 or 5 of them in the last 2 months. So I'm just, like I say, here at home, man, we are just running into a problem where it's just getting overwhelming with this. We'll find like the 2 Chihuahuas we just found. The first one we caught wasn't so bad, but the second one is out there now still. And he is so skittish that even a car pulling up, he takes off. And he's not returning to the original spot where I found him on the camera. He has not been back there since. So, but I did spot him yesterday around 4:30 in the morning, running across Highway 13. And we scouted that woods in that whole area there, and we couldn't find a trace of him anywhere. But we know he's still there. And it's like this, I have to dedicate my days to trying to get these babies, and that takes away from everything that I got going at the house. And we're just, we're at a loss with this because we just don't feel like we have, we just feel like we don't have a community behind us trying to help us fight this problem, because nobody cares for this problem, because it's not their problem. And we made it our problem because that's where the big heart comes in. We have too big of a heart to let this go. We can't see this stuff happening. It's heartbreaking to see this stuff happening. And for people to just be able to drive by and not try to do anything, or maybe even make a phone call like, hey, we've got abandoned dogs out here. Can we get somebody out here to get them? And I just think that falls on deaf ears, because, with Darla and Alfalfa, that was our local subscriber that was feeding them. I believe she was doing that for a couple weeks before we came across them. And it took us like 4 days to get them out of the woods and home. And Darla had 2 puppies 2 weeks later after bringing her home. So, like I say, finding people that really care about this is far and few. And it's just not enough people to actually spread this word far enough to make attention with it, And it's like, we just don't know what else to do to bring attention to this. I tried doing the TikTok thing to help bring awareness to this. TikTok is, I don't care for TikTok. They can keep TikTok. That's about how I feel with that. So I deleted that whole thing. And I guess I lost interest in it pretty quick. Probably a couple days I tried doing it. It's just a pain in the butt. So I erased TikTok, forget TikTok. And now YouTube is our only outcry for doing this. This is the only thing I'm posting on is YouTube. And my wife does her Facebook thing, because I don't have Facebook. And we're just not social media people, man. We're just not those people. And like I say, recording this stuff in the beginning was never an option for us. We didn't think it was something we had to do, because we didn't realize how big this problem really is. And now seeing it more and more, this is a huge problem here. And there is nothing for these animals, man. Nothing for them out here. So yeah, we want to make a difference so bad, so fast, that it's just like, we want the difference to be immediately, but nothing happens that fast. So, and it's kind of discouraging that it's not happening as fast as we like. So, and it's like, and that's why, I guess we just don't get the feedback that we want from this. And that's why it's kind of discouraging for me. And like I say, we want to make a difference. So we want to make a big difference so fast, and it's just not happening for us. So I guess we need to, just sit back and, just continue to do what we're doing, and it'll happen. It'll happen for us. I'm sure it will. We pray for it. So, we pray for this every day. We want this to happen so bad, because these animals in the woods, it's still over 90 degrees, during the day out here, when it gets, 12, 2 o'clock, all the way up to about 5 o'clock, when it starts to cool off a little bit. The mornings are starting to cool down a little bit. So, that's not so bad. And, and you put yourself in these dogs' paws, man, and it's like, and you sometimes just sit here, like when you're just, you got a little free time, and you just sit yourself there and you think about that, like, man, I wonder what that poocher's doing right now, I wonder if he's found water or maybe something to eat, or, where's he at right now? And that's kind of like, that's the things that get me down when I do that. When I sit here and I think about stuff like that, I get really discouraged, and then it just makes me, I guess, discouraged in the part of not finding them. That's what discourages me, not being able to get them as fast as we like. And yeah. So I guess I'm not too sure what to guess anymore, really. And it was like, you know, the poocher we found, Buster. You know, my wife was telling me about this lady that stopped her, and we've known this woman from, you know, for where my wife used to work. She knew this woman, and my wife was telling me about the lady because I didn't have good feelings about the woman anyways. And my wife was sitting there telling me, oh yeah, she was really interested on how Buster was doing and all this stuff and everything else. And I saw that same lady at the gas station today, and I was like, okay, well, you know, she was interested in Buster, and I had Buster with me in the car, so I saw her, and I pulled up to her, and I said, hey, I got Buster with me if you wanted to see him, and, you know, you can say hi to him, see how he's doing and stuff. And she just told me, oh yeah, you can keep him. And I was just like, are you kidding me? And this is why I am just like, you know, I am about to wash my hands with the people of this town, because you know, and the ones that I do care for, they know who they are, because these are people with true hearts, and like I say, they know who they are. These people that fake it, they know who they are as well, and they can only fake it for so long, and their true colors really show, like their colors showed today. And after she said that, it's just like, you know, I don't have to speak to these people. I only did that out the kindness of my heart because I felt that she was interested in Buster and would have liked to seen him, but that showed that she does not care either way. Telling me that, oh, you can keep him. Of course I can keep him. He's our baby, and we are going to keep him. We don't plan on rehoming any of these babies here, and especially within 50 miles of where we live. Sad to say, but that's just, we wouldn't rehome one of these babies within 50 miles of here. And that's just plain truth. Other than that, they are perfectly fine where they're at. And, you know, I'm going to end it with that. So, but I'm not going to let these people break my spirit on, you know, rescuing these babies and doing our part in this, because I believe the good Lord will prevail, and he'll shine the light where it needs to be shined. And you know, we'll leave it at that. So, you know, thank you to all our subscribers, and let's just keep up the good work and spread the word, and don't forget to spay and neuter. It's more important than we think. Thank y'all.